This video is brought to you by the Disc Golf Nerd Patreon support team. Go to patreon.com/discgolfnerd. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Disc Golf Nerd Plastic Podcast. We got a full house today. We got Andy with us. We got James with us. Hello. And we're really happy to welcome Tristan Tanner to the show. Tristan, thanks for coming on, man.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Absolutely, our pleasure. So, first of all, where are you? How are you? Are you doing okay? Where are you at right now?
Yeah, so I'm back home at my parents' house in Colorado. Just hanging out. We're on the lockdown here technically, but yeah, just kind of hanging out, making YouTube videos, and doing what I can do.
Nice. That sounds good. When did you get back there? Because you were in Emporia for a little while, correct?
Yes, I got back 3 days ago, something like that.
Okay,
I guess.
Nice.
Yeah, 3 days ago.
Yeah, we were just kind of laying low here too. Are all the public parks and stuff closed there, or what's going on in Colorado?
No, so I can actually still go out and play, which is nice.
Nice.
But I'm just trying to avoid, because everyone is still out and playing, so I'm trying to go to the not as good courses to just avoid contact with people.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not too bad.
Fair enough. Yeah, here all the state parks are closed, which a lot of the Oregon courses are all state park system courses, and then I think some of the just regular public park courses, actually, they pulled the baskets on some of them that I heard, so that's pretty crazy.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, people were just really not being smart about it, from what I understand. I had heard that all the state parks were just a complete zoo last weekend, which is just not smart.
Yeah, well, I'm sure, because people just think they have a bunch of free time. And yeah, they just want to go out and do stuff, and plus they're not allowed to do it.
It was
summer. Doing what they're not supposed to do.
Right.
It was summer vacation out at Milo last weekend, right before we got the lockdown.
Yeah.
I mean, it was the most packed I had ever seen it outside of a tournament. Just everybody and their mother was out throwing frisbees.
Yeah,
agreed.
That's crazy.
Groups of super groups of 8. We had everyone was out there. It was pretty jam packed.
Well, that's exactly.
And the dude
why
with
they're
the
closing
ventilator, there was a dude with a ventilator and a 6-pack of Corona. I mean, it doesn't get much more. I don't know. I think he was trying to make a statement, but failing miserably.
Yeah. Well, that kind of thought process is exactly why all the parks are closed and they're pulling baskets and stuff, is because they can't trust the general population to do the right thing here. So anyway, enough about that. We're trying to keep it a little bit limited on the talk about all this kind of stuff, because I'm sure everybody's super inundated with it anyway, but I just wanted to make sure you were healthy, see where you were at and what was going on. But I'd like to get back into some of your personal background. When did you start playing? How long have you been playing? All that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so I first picked up a disc in right at the beginning of March in 2017. So I've been playing just a little over 3 years now. I had a background in basketball before that, really high level basketball, and I just kind of took the same amount of time that I was putting into basketball and that work ethic and everything, and just put it straight into disc golf, which helped me have accelerated growth.
Wow. So me and Andy both have discs in our bag that are older than you've been the length of time that you've been actually playing. That's pretty hilarious.
Yeah.
Nice. How did you actually?
There's a legitimate chance I own a disc that was made before you were born.
Also possibly. True. I was born in 99.
Wow. Yeah.
Good Lord. Definitely have
some old plastic
older than that.
That is hilarious. Yeah. I wonder, I don't know when they came out, but I have some of the old 4-chain magnets in my bag right now that might be older than that. I'm not exactly sure.
Possibly.
That is funny. What actually got you into the game? How did you discover it?
So I have this course right by not right by my house, but it's just 5-minute walk from my house. And it's just this huge open course. And I was playing basketball, and I actually got hurt a couple times my senior year in high school. And I just kind of wanted, so I ended up quitting basketball, and I kind of just wanted something to do outside. And there's this course over here, so I decided to go to Play It Again Sports, pick up some discs, and it just kind of took off from there.
So I've noticed in watching you on coverage and some of the videos you've been putting out. Also, just before we go any further, just shout out your YouTube channel, like what the name of the channel is. I would like everybody to go check that out and subscribe and all that kind of stuff. Is it just your name?
Yeah, so it's Tristan Tanner Disc Golf is the channel.
Nice. So everybody should definitely go check that out. You're doing a lot of fun videos. We could talk a little bit more about YouTube later, but just watching you play, it seems like you're a really balanced player and very effective forehand and backhand. I was just watching a video yesterday, and Scott Stokely was saying how he will basically throw every single disc in his bag, backhand and forehand, and just kind of to switch the angle of spin. Do you have discs that you consider only for backhand, only for forehand, or do you throw pretty much anything in your bag either way?
I'll throw, I mean, I don't throw everything in my bag both ways all the time, but if I need to, I will throw any disc in my bag both ways. It's not, I do have some that I favor that are kind of my main forehand discs, right, and I have some that are my main backhand discs, but I also, but I'll still use either one both ways.
Okay, nice. What are your some of your go-to discs? Like, we don't need a whole bag rundown, but what are your kind of preferred discs, the discs that you kind of reach for over and over?
Yeah, so I reach for like the Harp a lot, the Gatekeeper a lot, Pioneer and Explorer for fairway drivers, and then the Ballista Pro, and then actually just added the Defender to my bag as well. And then my putting putters, the Shield, and those are my main go-tos for the most part, and I throw all of those both ways.
Nice. I also noticed that you have a really strong, forceful spin putt. How did you end up developing the spin putt, and why did you kind of choose that form? Was that a deliberate thing, or just kind of something you developed naturally?
I think I don't know exactly how I developed it. I think I've always been a spin putter since I started playing, but I think also part of learning how to play in Colorado, we just don't have a whole lot of glide on our discs, so most people tend to develop this harder putt. I mean, you see, like me, Colton, and Eagle all have very similar putting styles, and we're all from right here in the same area in Boulder County. So that's probably a big reason. It's just the elevation. And then, yeah, I guess I commit better when I'm spin putting hard. I'd rather just commit to my putt and know that I'm at least going to hit metal. I don't often miss the basket completely when I have my misses. So I think it's just a confidence and elevation thing, really.
That's interesting. I didn't really think about that. You know, you hear a lot about spin putt being more effective for like windy conditions and stuff like that because it has more spin. Obviously, it'll kind of cut through the air a little bit more, but I didn't really think about that. What are some of the challenges in terms of playing at home all the time and then hitting the road and trying to account for the difference in stability and the way your discs fly? Do you switch out your bag, or is it just a matter of kind of like going to the next stability up or down to kind of adjust for it, or how does that work?
Yeah, so really now, I played on the road all year last year, and I was only home for 2 months over the off season before I was back down in Arizona. So really, I'm more used to more sea level elevation. So when I come back home is when it's weird. But something I've learned to do is I'll take all of the discs out of my bag that I know for sea level, and I'll just put them on a rack, and I won't throw any of those because I know how they fly at sea level. And then I'll get a brand new set of discs, the same molds, just maybe some different plastics or some that are beat up a little bit more. And then I'll put those in my bag. And since I'm relearning my discs anyway, coming back up to elevation, it's pretty easy to just switch it out and then just learn them.
That's an interesting thought process there. That's cool. Yeah, I played at elevation one time in like the Salt Lake City area, and that was interesting for sure. I had never really experienced that before, just to see the difference in the way my plastic was flying and stuff. But I wasn't really good enough at the time to really notice too much of a difference. It would be interesting now to go back and see with that again. James, did you have any issues changing that out on the road? Like, did you notice your plastic changing the way it flies depending on the location you're at?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with Tristan there. I think I played a couple here in Oregon, mostly down in the Bend area at elevation. And again, as we've talked before, I'm a predominantly hyzer flip, pretty flippy. My bag's pretty flippy. So I did notice playing at those tournaments that starting things on hyzer, even with flippy discs, nothing would turn over. And so I struggled mightily in those elevation tournaments, trying to get things to go to the right. But I agree with Tristan. It seems like for the most part, once you get on tour, we don't play in too much of it. Maybe Vermont a little bit, but I don't think it's enough to really make a difference. I think for the most part, you tend to stay at similar elevation levels across the entire tour. And so I didn't really feel like I needed to change out my bag too much across the year.
That makes sense. Tristan, why do you think is kind of like a lack of high level events that take place in Colorado? Do you think it's a course issue, or what is that? Because I always feel like there should be some type of a national tour or pro tour or some kind of big events that take place there, but it doesn't really seem like there is.
Yeah, so we have the 303 Open, which is a Disc Golf Pro Tour Silver Series this year. That's the closest we have. We've had some big events in the past, like the Bloom is a big event that a lot of people know of, but I think it's partly because a lot of players really just don't want to play at elevation because they have to completely change their game. So that's probably the biggest reason that we don't have big tournaments. But I don't know if we really have the course in Colorado to to add something new on the pro tour that isn't already established, because there's all these courses that are already established that people are used to going to. They know it's the big events. It's really hard to add something new into that hasn't already been big for a long time. And we don't really have a tournament like that that's been a big event that a lot of people know of for a long time. We'll probably get one eventually when we have the course to support that kind of tournament. But for now, I think it's just because of the elevation, people don't want to be playing up here. And then, yeah, us missing the really signature course.
Do you feel much of a physical difference in terms of your own body and the way you feel playing rounds up there at elevation at home compared to on the road? Is there any adjustment there?
No, not really. Because, I mean, the human body really, you get acclimated to the oxygen levels after just about a couple days. So it feels the exact same. You probably would feel it if you come up to elevation and play that day. You would probably feel it, but in general, I think your body gets pretty used to it pretty quick.
That makes sense. I know with Ultimate Fighting, sometimes they've had UFC events at high altitudes and stuff, and a lot of times the fighters will actually fly in a week or two earlier and kind of finish their training camp at that elevation to kind of acclimate that little bit extra just to kind of get used to it. So I was wondering if that was anything that you've kind of noticed. So let's change gears and talk about your YouTube channel. What are some of your kind of aspirations for it? What are some of your plans for the channel? Is this something you kind of want to keep up with all year long, or is it just something that you're kind of using to pass some time?
Yeah, so I started my YouTube channel in November last year. So I've been making videos. I think I just uploaded my 21st video or something like that. But I'm just doing it because it's fun. I like making the videos. The editing to me is fun, and just the whole being able to help people, give people ideas of how to grow and practice. And then, yeah, really the biggest thing is I just have a lot of fun doing it.
Absolutely, man. That's definitely the most important thing too. So that'll definitely keep you motivated. You know, if you're enjoying it and you just do it because you like it, that'll keep you doing it. You know, if you're doing it for some other reason and your heart's not in it, it'll probably won't last. But yeah, hopefully everything keeps trending with that. It seems like you're getting good view counts and stuff, and people are really digging the content. I've definitely been enjoying it. I just watched your blindfold challenge with EMAC this morning. That was hilarious. What was that like?
Yeah. That was a wild video. So that's something I've had on my list to do for a long time, and it's something I'm going to do multiple more videos like that on my channel on different courses and with different people eventually. But it was really weird to get used to. I'm not going to spoil it, but some awesome stuff happened in that video that totally surprised me. I did not think that was going to happen, but it was weird. It kind of helps you realize like what you rely on in your game, and like your eyes are just where you're looking, where your head position is such a big part of people's form. And if you just throw that off a little bit, it kind of it makes you get lost, and you just don't really, your body doesn't know what to do, even though you have the muscle memory.
Yeah, that is definitely.
So I have a question based on that video. You throw a bite at one point. Do you regularly keep a bite in your bag?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I do. I keep it in my bag. I throw it. I don't throw it super often. It probably comes out like once every 2 rounds or somewhere in that range. But it's something I've had in the bag for a long time, and I'm always going to have that type of disc in my bag for the whole time that I play disc golf.
What do you use it for? Like, what is the kind of scenario where that comes out?
So it's really useful. I use it more in the woods when I have maybe a little bit of a tricky stance or something. It doesn't take a whole lot of arm motion to get it going. So I can just kind of flick my wrist and it'll just glide and hold the line. I also use it for some longer putts or anti-putts, a low ceiling putt here and there. But on the rare occasion I will throw it off the tee, it's really slow turning. It's not that understable, actually. And I can throw it on a really straight line and then have it, it just glides super straight, and then it finishes just a little bit right at the end on my backhand. And that's pretty much what I use it for in tournament rounds. But I love just joking around with it. It comes out all the time in practice. And I also love to use it just to play catch with before the round is really useful too.
That totally makes sense. Yeah, that it actually makes me want to check one out now, because I've never thrown one. I don't think. I definitely don't think I've ever thrown one. I'd kind of like to check one out and do a quick review on it at some point. That would be a lot of fun just to mess around with it.
Yeah, I think it's something that I think a lot of people could really benefit from checking it out, because it requires a really clean release, and it can really help you like show little things that are off in your form, because if you're not releasing the disc clean, if you have a little bit of off-axis torque, you just can't throw it because it'll just wobble and burn over to the right. But if you're throwing it smooth and it's coming out crisp and with good spin, it flies. I mean, up here at elevation, I can get it to hold a hyzer, which, I think it's just a really great learning disc.
That's cool. One cool idea would be fun if you could hook up with like Garrett and maybe somebody from Discraft and do like a 1 disc round, Bite versus Sonic versus Rattler or something like that. That would be a lot of fun to see how you guys handle it, just having to throw those really kind of frisbee like discs only on a round. That would be pretty fun.
Yeah. Brian Earhart was talking about that at one point, to do that with Garrett. And and then this whole situation came up, but we'll see. Maybe when the tour starts back up, we'll be able to do that. That would be sweet.
That would be a lot of fun. It would also be fun just to see you and Garrett try to do just a pure distance contest, Bite versus Sonic. That would be a lot of fun.
That would be cool. I think the Sonic might be able to get it on distance, just because the Sonic is max and the Bite is a little bit slower, I think. But we'll see. Maybe if we get a good tailwind, that we could send some.
The Bites are in like the 150 class range, or what is the weight?
I think their max weight is like 154, 155.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, that's fun. I'll have to look into getting one of those to check out. That would be a lot of fun. I have a couple of rattlers in my kind of stock here for discs that we're going to use to do videos eventually. And we've been meaning to do a rattler versus rattler like match play or something like that eventually. Hopefully we can do that. But yeah, now I want to check out the bite because I love the Latitude plastic, that's for sure. So talking about distance and form and stuff like that, one of the things that's very obvious when watching you throw is that you have a very slow, just extremely steady, slow pace run up, and then all of your kind of acceleration happens right at the last second. Is that something that you're consciously developing? Is that something that you're really thinking about doing, or was that just kind of how your form naturally developed?
Yeah, so that's kind of just how my form naturally developed. After, obviously, it took a little while to get the base form, and then I kind of had some times where I was going fast and going slow, and then when I got my injury last year, the day before Vegas last year, I dislocated my kneecap, which it was on my plant leg, my right foot, which made it so I had to go slow so I wouldn't, because I didn't have a whole lot of stability in that knee, I had to go slow to hit that plant step. And then from there, I just kind of developed the slow throw. And now it's what I know. It helps me hit my timing every time. I can go faster than that, and it adds more distance when I do. And it's kind of on and off, whether that is feeling good or not. But for the most part, I just go slow because I can hit my timing, and it's very repeatable.
Yeah. You're definitely very methodical, and it seems very consistent in the way you approach the shots. Like, it looks very similar every single time. The pace of it seems to be very similar. It's something that I've actually messed around with after the Vegas coverage came out, and we were kind of getting to see a little bit more of your game there. I kind of played around with it a little bit out there in the field, like just being really, really exaggerating the acceleration at the end. And it's definitely interesting to check out. And when you do it right, it does feel really nice where the disc just comes out with really good spin and speed if you hit it just right. And it does feel like you're kind of putting a little bit less wear and tear on your joints and stuff too, just being slow and controlled and focusing on just that last second of hit point there. It's definitely interesting for sure. And it also shows how, everybody has this conception if you run up as fast as possible, you see so many beginners really run into the shot, and a lot of times it probably just throws off their timing and is doing more damage than good. I think a lot of players would benefit from kind of taking a little bit more from your approach. And then once you have the muscle memory and you're got all that stuff dialed in, then maybe add a little bit more like base speed into it to try to stretch some distance, like you said. But I definitely think a lot of players can benefit from slowing down. And if there's anything we can take from watching you throw, is that it's not harming your distance. You're still throwing big shots and getting out there with a lot of power and speed on the throw, even without really any more than just a couple of steps. It's not even like you start off with a tee pad and run into it like a James Conrad or something like that. And it's always fascinating to see the juxtaposition between different players and the different approaches to all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, really, I can say not every single person is probably able to throw like I am, just because everyone's body is different. Everyone has to find their own pace, and but I think it would help a lot of people to try slowing down, because I think the majority of people have just always had a fast run up, and I think the pro players that have a faster run up have just been doing it for so long that it's natural for them, and they don't have to think about it, and it doesn't throw off their timing. But I'm sure when they started, or for a long time, it did throw off their timing, and they just got really good at it. So I think it would be beneficial for a lot of people to slow down, learn their timing, and then if they do want to speed up, gradually add base speed, still keeping the slower feet and faster hands, but definitely starting slow and then working into that would help a lot of people, I think.
Yeah, I totally agree there, for sure.
I got a question for Tristan, because we obviously played a bunch last year, and you routinely were throwing further than me. But I remember Adam Vosberg and I were actually having a conversation about you because if I remember correctly, you were throwing pretty far even in your first year. And I want to say the number that we came up with was you still probably got to 450, 500 in your first year of playing. And I remember my first year of playing, if I recall, I mean, even now I'm throwing maybe 400. And Andy and I were out at Milo, and there's always a couple holes out there that are true par threes that are in that like 450 that pros are trying to birdie. And to me, that's the difference between sort of the higher level pros and pros like myself that are at that sort of bottom tier. Did you ever struggle with distance at all? And what have you been working on to try to get an extra 20, 30 feet for people that want that just extra little bit that gets you from circle 2 to circle 1 putting?
Yeah, so that's a great question because when I started playing, the course I learned how to play on, that's right by my house. I forgot to mention it earlier, but it's like almost an 1,100 or 11,000 foot course, and it is dead flat, no trees. So the shortest hole is like 360 or something like that. It's just bomb after bomb after bomb. So when I first started playing, I was like, okay, this just is how it is. Like, you just have to be able to throw that far to play disc golf. Like, it's just part of the game. So I developed that really fast. And then I really, there's also like 6 soccer fields right next to that course as well. And I just got obsessed with throwing the disc far. So I was out in the field throwing 360s, these huge Anheuser shots, and just really ended up like kind of, it's a miracle that I ended up developing good form, because like learning how to throw with like 13 speed disc, just trying to throw distance lines, normally does not result in having good form. But I mean, I threw my first shot over 600 feet after playing for 4 months, just because I was so obsessed with throwing that far. I would not advise people to learn that way, but it happened to work for me.
Well, okay, the podcast is over. I'm going to go.
It's cool. I mean, I think, again, I just find it fascinating because Tristan and I, like I said, we played a bunch last year, and Tristan always threw further. And even at that point, you know, I knew Tristan was hurt. And so it was really interesting. I think he progressively was throwing further than me as the year progressed and as you got healthier. And I think it was really fascinating to actually have the Central Coast coverage and get some of those metrics at Vegas, and seeing that you were throwing just as fast as some of the biggest throwers in the game, even faster on some of those holes. And so your distance wasn't, as Justin was saying, you know, your run-up is completely different than a lot of other people we've seen. And we sort of highlight James Conrad at one end of the spectrum, and you could almost be at the other end of the spectrum in terms of speed, and yet your distance is there, the speed of your arm speed and your distance. And yeah, and it's not like you were pulling out a Ballista Pro every single time off the tee. You know, you were using your whole bag, and yet routinely we're getting massive distance. And so I just think it's a really interesting thing, because here I am still trying to get those couple holes at Milo, and I'm like, is it a Shrike, or, you know, could I get there with a Thunderbird, which is what, you know, other people are throwing 9-10 speed. And I think there's something to be said about perfecting your form, and clearly you had a different approach to it, and it's worked out and you've refined it. But it's not just the speed of the disc that's going to guarantee to get you that distance.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think one of my favorite moments of the Vegas coverage was on one of the holes you threw a gatekeeper, and Ian's like, oh, you know, I like the play, though. You know, you can land soft with mid-range. And Nate Sexton's like, yeah, if you could throw it there. Like, yeah, like, sure, why not? If you could do it. But not everybody can. And Ian's like, yeah, that's fair. I really like that moment. Yeah. That's funny, man. Interesting. So have you been throwing Latitude and Trilogy stuff the whole time, or did you start off with some other companies and then switch over? How did that work?
Yeah, so I started off with some other companies just because it's what's around here. I mean, obviously, Colton and Eagle both throw Discmania around here. So I kind of started off with some more of their molds. But yeah, I started throwing Trilogy plastic I guess, in the winter of right at the beginning of 2018 is probably when I started throwing Trilogy plastic. And then, a year after that was when I got picked up by Latitude. And then, I've been on the team for a little over a year now. So,
have there been any talks of any kind of a tour series fundraiser for you from Latitude or anything along those lines?
Not anything official yet, but yeah, it's definitely going to be in talks here soon, just with everything that's been going on. We haven't been able to talk about it much, but hopefully you'll see something in the near future.
Absolutely. Please keep us posted.
What kind of discs would you want?
Yeah. What do you have your eye on?
I mean, obviously the Ballista Pro I throw a lot for both forehand and backhand, so that would probably be my first one, just because Tristan Tatar already has the Pure, which is probably my favorite disc in my bag that I throw a lot. But yeah, probably the Ballista Pro would be the one.
Are you sure you don't want to force them to bring back the Gobi? I think that would be a great plan.
Yeah, I've never actually really messed around with the Gobi. I've always I've favored the Fuse in that type of shot. But
yeah, I actually I've been throwing Gobies since they came out. I have 15 or 16 of them in my stock, and I always have a couple in the bag. And I switched to them from compasses because I just felt like they were a little bit straighter and I could throw them a little bit farther. They had a little bit more of a driver-like flight for me, which I liked. And then I've noticed that the Fuse is actually they complement each other quite well. The Fuse holds those turnovers so much easier than just about any other disc for me. If I just put it on that slight ante, it holds it so nice without ever really trying to come out, which is nice. But the Gobies are more of just a straight all the way to gentle fade disc for me. They're really great, but I don't see those coming back ever, so unfortunately, but we'll see. Nice, man. Well, definitely keep us posted on anything that happens with that. I'd love to show it off on the channel or get a review out or anything if you do end up with any tour series or anything that the viewers could support. Definitely let us know. We'd love to help promote.
Yeah, sounds good. Definitely will do.
I was just gonna say, I think Tristan's story of how he joined Latitude is kind of cool. I think for myself, when I went on tour, I just emailed everybody. I think some people think that you have to be the best player on tour, and yes, Tristan's a very accomplished player, but I think his story of how he ended up with Latitude's kind of cool. I don't know if you want to talk about that at all.
Yeah, definitely. So I once I started throwing the Latitude plastic, I guess through the 2018 season, it would have been, I was just kind of playing. I was getting better and had a big impact in my local community. And I just kind of filled out the application for being on the team. And they came back to me, said, hey, we're not looking for that right now. And then I just kind of kept contact through that. I didn't just think oh, okay, whatever. They don't want it now, so it's not going to happen anytime soon. I just kind of kept some steady contact and just updated them as my season was going. I ended up having a great season from when I played my first tournament, or I guess from the end of 2017, I was 864 rated or something like that. And then after the 2018 season, I was 966 rated. So my rating went up 100 points in that year. And then, it was actually, I was in Canada visiting some of my grandparents. And on New Year's Eve, at 11 o'clock at night, they called me saying that they wanted to sponsor me for the 2019 season. And it was just a pretty crazy experience, but I think it's just good to keep solid contact if that's something that you're looking for, and to just not really if they know who you are, it gives you a better opportunity to have that.
Right on. Okay, so changing gears, I was going to kick it over to Andy. Andy had a couple of more personal questions for you, just to kind of get to know you a little bit better and get away from some of the disc golf stuff for now. Andy, you got something for us?
Yeah, so I just made a quick list of stuff to just kind of, so people can get to know you and make you their favorite pro.
Yeah, definitely.
What's your favorite fruit?
Oh, that I gotta probably oranges on that one.
See, I'm with you. Oranges are so good.
I love oranges.
Good choice.
I eat like 2 a day at least.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, I can respect that.
I'm a big fan of the Cara orange. I don't know if we want to go that deep, but
Okay. Yeah, I normally just go. I normally just go with the navel orange just because it's the easiest one to find at like any grocery store, and I don't want to get too attached to like a fancier orange.
fair enough.
That is
fair enough.
Okay.
So, outside of Colorado, what's your favorite state?
I really, really enjoyed Vermont this year. Oregon was awesome too, but
Yeah, that's right.
Probably Vermont but it's funny because it's the one that reminded me the most of Colorado. So
exactly
yeah.
Right. I mean, Vermont, Oregon, and Colorado, kind of kindred spirit states.
Yeah,
those are probably my 3 favorite as well too. So
yeah, if you're going to put any other state above Oregon, I'm feel like Vermont is pretty solid. I can live with that.
Yeah, for sure.
So you just turned 21, right?
Yep.
What'd you get wasted on your 21st birthday?
I do not drink at all, so nothing. Some water, probably. Some water and going to sleep at 9 o'clock.
Ate like 37 navel oranges and just got trashed.
Yeah, super trashed on oranges and raspberries.
Fair, okay.
What's your biggest pet peeve?
Oh, wow, that's a tough one. My biggest pet peeve. Probably. Wow. Probably, I gotta say, like, if people say they want to do something, but then don't do any steps to do that, is probably my biggest pet peeve.
Yeah, no, I know that feeling all too well.
That's pretty fair.
I'm guilty of it. I'm definitely guilty of it myself too.
Yeah. I think everyone has done it at times, for sure.
Quick bonus question. Are there any disc golf related pet peeves that you have out there in terms of tournaments or anything along those lines?
Oh, I hate when people like talk about not necessarily talk about score, but there's some players that like will be playing and like I'll have a really good round going and we'll get to like the last hole and they're like, oh dude, here's your putt for 10 down or for 11 down or whatever. It's like, you got to make this for this sick round. It's like, why are you telling me this? It's like, I don't pay attention to my score, look at scores at all through any tournament. I didn't once at Vegas until after the rounds. And so that's my biggest disc golf pet peeve for sure.
I feel that 100%. That's one of the things I actually recommend for newer players is to keep score. Not only just to keep track of your progress and stuff like that, but sometimes it really helps me just write down the total strokes and just move on rather than thinking now I'm, 3 down, now I'm 1 over, or I really need to birdie this to hit this score or whatever. That kind of thought process rarely really helps. You're always trying to do the best you can anyway. And unless, it's coming down to the wire or something and you got to know if you need to go for it or not or something like that. Yeah, I definitely prefer not to know what's going on. Do you completely stay away from UDisc during rounds, or do you kind of keep track of where everybody else is sitting, or are you just trying to do your best?
During rounds, yes. I don't look at my phone, and from when I start warming up, unless it's to look at the time, I'm not on my phone at all during the round or even warming up. And if I guess it has happened sometime, like at Vegas or some other tournaments, where I've had someone walking with me and maybe like I'll ask them what scores are like. But I still don't look on my phone because I just know that if I look, it can get carried away, like trying to look at how many holes are left and everything. But if I just ask someone what scores are at, they'll tell me a straight up answer and then I can like move on and continue. So
nice. So you're not like wasting any mental energy thinking about aspects that you don't really need to be worrying about at the time. That makes sense for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I think like I practice my game plan and there's the score doesn't change that game plan because I've committed to those decisions, and that's what I've practiced. So it doesn't matter if I have a 1-stroke lead, a 5-stroke lead, if I'm 1 shot behind, or if I'm like 5 shots behind. It's like I'm gonna do the exact same thing every time because that's what I practice. That's what I can score doing that way because I've made those decisions to play the course. So score really doesn't change my game, so I don't think I need to know what the score is.
Awesome. That's great advice. Okay, moving on.
So are you a dog person, cat person, or neither?
Dog, for sure.
What's your favorite dog breed?
I love like cockers, some sort of spaniel, I guess. But yeah, they're so cute.
I'm sorry, the correct answer was boxer. And
oh, well, see ya.
What's your most watched TV show?
I don't watch any TV unless I'm at home and my family happens to have something on and I'm not doing anything. Then I might like watch whatever they're watching, but I don't watch any TV.
All right. So, bonus question on that: what do you do with your free time that's not disc golf?
Yeah. So I mean, it kind of changes all over the place, but disc golf, and then I obviously like making YouTube videos is separate from like my actual practice and play. So I'll make my YouTube videos, edit my YouTube videos. I do watch YouTube, but I also like when I'm home, I like to play board games or other games with my family or people that I'm around. And then I love hiking, biking, all sorts of outdoor stuff. I juggle on the side as well. So all of those.
Nice. Here's another side question. How often do people assume you are far older than you actually are?
I have never had someone guess my actual age without knowing it beforehand. So.
I will say, when you have the sunglasses off, you look a little younger. But when the glasses are on, like, and you're out there with the full beard and the hair, yeah, I mean, I would have guessed probably 10 years wrong.
Yeah, definitely. I also like to think
you thought he was 11.
I carry myself better than a lot of other people my age that are in the sport, so I think that is probably part of it as well.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that for sure.
I can attest to that. I feel like that's how I met Tristan the first time. Was like, hey, do you want to grab a drink? And at that point, you were 20, and I was like,
yeah.
Why are you lying to me? This is BS. There's no way. And then yeah
for sure.
No drinks, but I know this sweet orange bar that's around the way if you want to go hang out.
That's right.
We can go peruse the produce section of Whole Foods. It'll be great.
That's perfect.
So, if you're obviously, you said you're not a TV guy. Music. What kind of music do you listen to, and who's your favorite artist?
I love music. I can't say I have a favorite artist. I just kind of listen to whatever, and if I like it, then I like it. But yeah, I don't really have a favorite genre or artist or anything. I just like music. If it sounds good, I'll listen to it, but I can't say I have a particular style with it.
What's your dream car?
Dream car? Well, it's probably, like, honestly, my dream car before I got my van was a van. So that probably some sort of, like, I saw, oh my gosh, I just remember this. I saw this, like, sweet, it was like this huge, I don't even know what it was. It was this, like, military vehicle that was, like, lifted on these huge wheels, but it was converted and people were living out of it as well. So maybe something like that. It's, like, absolutely over the top and ridiculous, but those are pretty sick. Like
a Sherman tank with an RV glued to the top of it or something like that?
Yeah, something
an
like
Airstream
that.
Bolted to the top of a decommissioned Sherman tank. That would be perfect.
Yeah.
Great on gas.
For those that don't know,
great on gas for the road.
Tristan's got a pretty sweet rig on tour. He's got solar panels on his van. You always know when Tristan's around when you see the van with solar panels on it. So he's got a pretty sweet rig that he's rolling around in.
Yeah, it does me well, and yeah, I live out of it full time. Even though I'm here at my parents' house hanging out inside, I still go out and sleep in my van every night. So
nice, man. That's cool. It's a good time.
Dedication.
It's a good time to have that kind of mobile living situation. You know, if this whole situation kind of persists, you could, you know, take off and get out of Dodge for a little while and still be completely self-sufficient, staying home technically, but you can kind of get out of the way and go see some nature and stuff like that. That's cool.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I could definitely just book it up into the mountains if I ever needed to.
So, last one that I got. Are you a coffee drinker?
No.
Well, then that kills my how do you take your coffee? Water and orange juice, I assume, then.
Not, I mean, I guess kind of orange juice. I drink water, and then I drink a lot of coconut water, and I like to mix it with like a mix of pineapple and orange juice. So,
snap.
Yeah, that's my energy drink if I ever need it.
You're most of the way there, man. Just a little vodka on top, and we're good to go.
Appeal to the masses.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree. Coconut water is like my lifeblood sometimes. I feel like it just, sometimes I just need one desperately. It's like, I need the nutrients for sure. All right, we're looking, let's see. We're looking at about, coming up on like 50 minutes or so. Is there anything else we haven't covered that you'd like to mention? Is there any other questions you guys have for Tristan?
I mean, I had one other one. Probably, I'm curious. You know, it feels unfortunate that this COVID thing is happening when it is. But again, I think I had talked about, man, Tristan's going to have a great year, and then sure enough, you come out and you absolutely crush it at Vegas and played pretty well at Memorial as well. But only 2 events in. How has the year felt different between last year and this year, just in the fact that you had a top 5 finish at a major event? Is it stuff like this? Is it everyone trying to get your time and you need to split multiple ways and having these interviews? Are you getting asked to do more for your sponsor? You know, how has life changed for you just from one good top 5 finish at a national event?
Yeah, so it's been kind of a crazy year because like a whole bunch of the goals, like general goals that I set for the off season were like have already happened. Like I wanted to have some sort of like top 5 finish at a big event, have a breakout event. I wanted to grow my YouTube channel a lot. I wanted to be playing the year not hurt, and like all of those things like have already happened. So it's been kind of crazy because it's like, okay, now I get to set new goals, but also, I mean, I'm just kind of living the dream right now, like just on like not on a super high or anything, just because I try not to have that happen, because I think any really high highs or really low lows like aren't great either way, because you can kind of get too caught up in what's happening. So I just kind of try to stay pretty neutral for the most part, but it's been great. And like this, whatever what's happening with COVID-19, I think I'm taking this time to grow the social media part of my brand. Now that it got a good kickstart from my good finish at Vegas, I'm just able to keep growing my brand and then continue to work on my game through this time. It's kind of like a second off season that I think whichever players really take advantage of this the best are going to be able to come out hot whenever the season starts back up. Hopefully, I don't know exactly what it's looking like, but it's like possibly Worlds is going to be our next event. And this year Worlds is at high elevation. I think Colton talked about this a little bit after he won Waco, but it's like me, him, and Eagle have a huge advantage because we are from elevation. So we know how our discs fly up here. We're going to be here during this time to practice at high elevation. So if that's our first event back, I think a lot of us high elevation guys have a really good chance at doing well. So
yeah,
I think
that totally makes sense.
Yeah, I'm really just trying to make the best out of the whole situation, because there's nothing that I can do about it personally. So yeah, just trying to do what I can do and just enjoy it.
You're obviously very young, but is your thought process, or you're trying to go full bore into professional disc golf? Do you have like a backup plan? Is there any other things that you want to pursue in life, or is this kind of your main focus?
For now, I just take one thing at a time, and right now I'm pursuing professional disc golf until I can't do that anymore, and hopefully that's a long way away.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you have the right thought too, to focus more on yourself and building your own personal brand. I think we've seen a lot of players kind of realize that just over the last couple years. It seems a lot more focus on doing that sort of thing from Simon and Eagle. We see Drew Gibson's now really trying to dig into the YouTube thing, and I think you guys are on the right path with that, because if you grow your YouTube channel to a certain level independently from disc golf, that's an income source. That's a great hobby. It's a great way to connect with people. It's a great way to, just be a known person within the game and kind of up your profile. And then if there's talks about kind of altering your contract in the future, then that can be a part of the factor that goes into that, as well as, hey, I have 15, 20,000 YouTube subscribers, and all of that kind of ties together. I really think that's a smart way to go about it. I'm sure your YouTube channel will quickly exceed mine, but for the time being, I'm really hoping anybody listening to this, any of my viewers, will definitely go check you out. Make sure that they subscribe to your channel. I'll be sure to put your channel in the description of this video as well, since my podcast is hosted exclusively on YouTube for the time being. Anybody who sees this will be able to just go right in the description, click on it, and go check out your videos, and make sure to subscribe and stay tuned with everything you're up to. Any sneak peeks at any upcoming content that you're working on right now that you want to kind of tease for us?
Yeah, sure. I've got a mini disc like in my house round coming out soon.
Excellent.
I've got like a 14 random disc challenge coming out with a couple of people up from Fort Collins, and yeah, I got plenty of stuff in the works, all sorts of form videos, forehand, backhand, putting, all coming out in the near future as well.
Excellent.
So that's what I'm focusing on. A lot of content is definitely on the horizon.
Yeah, man. Excellent. I really hope we can kind of connect our independent viewerships together a little bit. Hopefully there's some overlap there, but hopefully not too. And you can get some new followers and stuff. And maybe we can even connect with you again in the future and work on some stuff just like that. Some backhand tips, some forehand tips. I know that all the guys on the call now could definitely benefit from some of your expertise on the forehand, because I might be the worst forehand thrower on earth. So yeah, that would be great. We'd love to be able to tap into some of the skill you put together, and maybe help get some of the newer players in getting into the game to kind of start the right way and learn some of the stuff that you have to teach.
Yeah, definitely. That sounds amazing.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it. We're really happy that you are safe and healthy where you're at, and hopefully all of this can kind of get taken care of sooner than later. Not to be selfish and just think about disc golf and ourselves. People are fighting for their lives right now. That's the more important thing. Just be grateful for the fact that we're all still here, happy and healthy for the time being, and that hopefully everything can get under control soon, and we can get back on the road and see you and all the other top pros out there throwing those great shots and competing and putting on a show for the fans. Any parting shots you want to throw out there before we let you go?
No, I think I'm good. Just everyone stay healthy. Don't play too much disc golf in this time where we have so much time to do so for some of us. But yeah, just everyone stay healthy, and I think we're all looking forward to the season starting back up.
Absolutely. On that, we'll let you go. Thank you so much for listening. We appreciate it. Andy, James, you guys got anything else?
No, appreciate your time, Tristan. It's always good to catch up, and excited to see you in person at some point this year, whenever that is.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that for sure.
Yeah, I really hope that Beaver State is not affected by this. That would be great. And maybe we could even connect in person if you're in Oregon and do some filming for that. That would be awesome.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Thanks to everybody for listening. You can find all the links to Tristan's YouTube channel and all that stuff in the description below. And we will talk to you all very soon. All right. Cheers.